Hey YouTube modelers. I got the rare treat to have the house to myself this past weekend as my wife and youngest went downstate to visit my oldest at school. And so I have been so looking forward to my first Eggplane group build that on Saturday I think I literally sat at the bench for 17 straight hours so I would model a little bit and take a video. So here you go. Awesome. Man, these are nice clean, kits, of course, Hasegawa. I've got everything all cleaned up. A few indentations here and there, but everything cleaned up really nice. And then I blew up the instructions, make it easier to grab off the wall and read. That's the one picture from the Lone Star Flight Museum. I'm going to do the Putt-Putt Maru, per that reference, so to speak. But P-51 for the Ukraine honor, I'm going to try to have a little fun with that and then see if we can't increase the firepower, so to speak. And I'm going to do a very special tribute in that regard, so make sure you stay tuned for that. As I look through these things, it's pretty much model airplane building 101. So here we go. You get pretty decent seams without any glue. That's amazing. Yeah, Hasegawa makes a decent kit, Their stuff usually fits, and it's no surprise that the little ones would too. I have to clean that up, and this up back here. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to put these in. I think that's the construction on the P-51. Now let's dig into this one, P-38. As I'm pushing it together, I'm trying to see like melted plastic come out. And then if you hold it like that until it dries, now you're sanding down to the surface rather than trying to fill a seam, so to speak. So put that together with the thin cement, which melts it together, then sanded that down. And then any minor seam opening, then I go over it with the ultra thin super glue just to fill that in. And then the same thing here. So I've touched that seam with the ultra thin super glue. And then once that dries, I'll go back and basically just buff it and it'll look like one single piece. Worked on all four of these seams, and I'm pretty happy with here's those cockpits more or less done. I put the seat in there. All right, there we go. Decals are in, and I hit those with the salvo set. I'm working on the figure now that goes inside the P-51, and I altered it up a little bit. Going with the Ukrainian theme, I gave it a blue helmet or cap and then a yellow uniform. I just finished dry brushing it. I hit those buckles on both the mask and the parachute or whatever, and then just dry brush the mask a little bit with the silver and around the ears and stuff, just to give it some accent. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that came out. There's the canopies masked. Pretty straightforward. A lot of surface area, but not that difficult. Okay, there we go. Just popped them on. So I'm getting everything ready to paint here, and I'm putting these remaining parts on the planes. And it just so happens that I have both planes in 1-48 up above me. And I was just looking at them, and it's pretty remarkable how, those fuselages, I'm calling them, are, really accurate. And I was noticing the surface area above those exhausts, the same thing on there, and just the accuracy of the drop tanks. So yeah, kind of cool. So the last thing I did tonight was the spastics there. So it's holy cow, it's 2:45, 2:46. Yes, yesterday morning at like 9:30, 10 o'clock when I came down here. So I don't know what that is, but yeah, I got pretty far. So I think it's time to go to bed. Mail call. So this is Hobby Time with Papa Dan. So I'm assuming it's a shop card. Look at that. Caleb's Corner, Papa Dan's Models 2, Caleb's Corner. Nice. And then some artwork. Very cool. As real as you can imagine. Hobby Time. And since it says Caleb's Corner, I thought it'd be appropriate to start the other side of that corner with those 3 cards. I forgot a sticker. So that is gonna join old Tom right up there. So there you go. And I think Dan's a kindred spirit. That's a P40, another one of my favorite planes. I got a P40 over there and one back there in the case. So anyway, thanks again, Papa Dan. I'm a little disappointed. I don't know why I can't get a consistently mirror-like finish. Like I can get it on the wings and up there, but then I get this blotchiness. I was getting the same thing on this. I actually just went back and did this with just plain old silver. And maybe it's the base coat, I don't know, but I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted this to be like a mirror finish. Oh well. Okay, I went with the Tester's Chrome Silver there and did the P51, and yeah, I'm happy with that. And that one's still drying, so I'll let those dry, and I'm gonna go work on the decals. I want to show you what I'm thinking for the decals. So I went out and found some reference photos, and as you can see, they this is their Air Force symbol, and they don't have tail numbers. They have a number up front and a number in the back, and then they have rondelles on the wings. This is just Microsoft PowerPoint. I went out on the internet and I found this image, these images. I played around with the fonts. I wanted to find like Up Yours Putin or something to put on a bomb. So I went and searched, and apparently this is it's the most popular anti-Putin saying in the Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. And it basically means Putin's a dickhead. So I found that. And then this is Glory to Ukraine. And then the refrain, Glory to the Heroes. So that's what these 2 things are. Making my decals, I get the images and figure out the size and then print them out on decal paper. And I kind of used the actual decals to kind of size them. There's the P38 with the masking off, and I put the wheels on, and I hit it with some Pledge floor wax where the decals are going to go, so just to be on the safe side. There's the P51 unmasked. I am really happy with that. Sapphire Metal Flake number 1539. I'm in decals, just got a few left to go. It takes quite a bit of salvacet to get those to nestle around those propellers. I'm probably still going to go back and probably hit those tips with the Insignia yellow paint. Other than that, they're going down pretty well. Lining up, you see on the bottom there, those ones over here. I messed with those forever, and they just don't want to line. I hit them all the way back here. I hit them further forward. Messing around. They look good from the top. They don't necessarily line up perfectly there. And then, and then that one, we'll see how that one goes. Hopefully it'll just conform. So, home stretch on the P38, reveals next. In honor of seeing it at the Lone Star Flight Museum back in 1995, my first entry into the Eggplane group build is the P38 Putt Putt Maru. So there she is. Overall, I think she came out pretty good. I'm really happy with it, actually. Unfortunately, and you can see on the nose cones there, that's how shiny I wanted the whole thing to be on both planes, actually. But I had to resort to the silver, which actually looks nice and came out nice. The decals, as I said, required a lot of salvacet. But fortunately, that one around the body conformed quite well. So all in all, this was quite a build, more than just your typical Eggplane. There was a lot of seams to fill and fix, but I think it just came out great, and I'm super happy with the way it looks, and super happy that this plane is my first entry, given that it's been hanging on the wall of my workshop for quite some time now. So there you go. Putt Putt Maru. So I had no particular connection to that number 58, so I was looking for a more appropriate number for a decal. So you've probably seen dozens, if not hundreds, of Russian tanks destroyed by the Ukrainians, but you probably didn't know that it was actually a detachment of the Illinois National Guard who taught them how to use those deadly Javelin missiles during an 11-month training mission last year in the Ukraine. This is Colonel Glenn Peterson, retired, who led the Illinois National Guard 33rd Infantry Brigade Combat Team on that training mission.
We were very proud to have the opportunity and honor to work with our Ukrainian counterparts, and they requested additional training on how to use the Javelin anti-tank weapon system. And we had a team of soldiers within my group that were trained on how to use that weapon system, and they executed what we call a train-the-trainer program. So it's kind of like teaching a person how to fish versus just giving them a fish. And so my soldiers trained Ukrainians on how to put together a Javelin training program. And we certified their trainers on that weapon system. And seeing the news, watching Ukrainian soldiers in action, and seeing the devastating effects that they have achieved so effectively on the Russian invaders, it does definitely makes you feel very proud that in some way we have enabled our Ukrainian counterparts, our partners, to defend their country. As soon as the invasion started, I just knew right away that some of those soldiers that I worked with, that that they're on the front lines. They're in the fight. I know for a fact that several of those units are located on the eastern part of Ukraine, and I know that those guys are out there fighting to defend their country, without a doubt. When I worked with them, I could tell how professional and how urgent they felt the need was to make sure that their forces were as fully combat capable as possible, because they realized what the threat was well before this invasion. This was going on almost a year ago. So it kind of pulls at your heartstrings to know that those soldiers may or may not be still alive out there, but that they're doing everything they can to defend their country.
So here's the 165 Illinois Army National Guard soldiers of the 33rd Infantry Division returning to Willard Airport in Savoy, Illinois back in April after that 11-month deployment, where they formed Task Force Illini as the command element of the Joint Multinational Training Group Ukraine, responsible for training, advising, and mentoring the Ukrainian military. Here, Colonel Clayton Kudemeyer, Commander Task Force Illini, presents Major General Richard Neely, Adjunct General, Illinois National Guard, with the Illinois state flag flown during the unit's deployment to the Ukraine. After a short ceremony, the company was greeted by family and friends. So after learning of this super interesting and very important connection between Illinois and the Ukrainian struggle, I just had to commemorate that in this build. So I've dedicated my 2022 Ukrainian Honor Eggplane build to the 33rd Infantry Division of the Illinois National Guard. So there she is, the number 33 P-51 Ukrainian Honor Eggplane. You'll see I used the decals to put the 33rd Division's flag underneath the wing in the back, the big old number 33 on the side, and then you'll note on the upper tail the smaller 33 with the Ukrainian symbol on the back. And then below the pilot on the side is the Glory to Ukraine, Glory to the Heroes. And I at first was going to lay those over the blue, but I tested it on the spoon and they didn't show up as well as over the silver. You'll also note on the side of the bombs is the Putin's a dickhead saying that I put on those laser guided bombs. And then here you can see from the top the rondelles. I also added the yellow tips to the wings to match the yellow on the tail. And then you can see the blue on the cap and the yellow on the uniform of the pilot. And I just absolutely love that metal flake sapphire blue on the nose. So all in all, I mean, it's a pretty easy kit to build. Easy, you know, not a lot of seams to fill because the seams like follow panel lines. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to build and you know, increase the firepower with those laser guided bombs. That's my Ukrainian honor Eggplane entry for the 2022 Eggplane group build. So here's both of them for one last go around on the card. The 2022 egg build is in the books, and I want to thank Munchkin Modeling Man 72 and Charlie Mack for hosting. Again, this was my first year and I had a total blast. So thank you very much, guys, for hosting. And thanks to the whole community for participating. This is so cool. I had a blast. Thanks again. And as always, thanks for watching and happy modeling.